Welcome back to the Arena Valor World Cup 2019. We are into, what is this, our fifth game, Daniel?
5, yes.
I was right. I don't know why I doubted myself. It's the real lesson.
Because you doubted yourself before.
Yeah, I didn't doubt myself enough before. That's the real answer. Welcome back to the Arena Valor World Cup 2019. We're back with our fifth game of the day. My name's TJ, entirely confident for the first time, joined by D2.
Yes. Nice. Well, we have Thailand versus Indonesia here. Thailand with a pretty unfortunate situation earlier. You see Sun has gone from being bubbly to being remorseful. And this is kind of the same
Son
situation.
a hug.
We certainly would if we were there.
Mm-hmm.
For Thailand, if this is an easy 2-0, then we have problems.
Yeah. Because we saw China get taken out. And as I was saying at the head of that match, if China does well, then all of a sudden Thailand's loss looks a little bit more reasonable. If China gets bodied, which they kind of did, it was somewhere in the middle, but they didn't have a great performance, then the fact Thailand lost to them raises real questions.
Exactly. And the thing is, Thailand, a lot of their confidence comes in the play of their two Korean players, Jae-Jok and Sun. And you can see why they kind of panicked when Sun went on the core in the second game and tried to make it work. Even though in a lot of cases they would be like, well, Sun's just doing weird things, let's just let him die. And they either need to stick to their guns, or one way or another, right? They need to stick to their guns. They need to either go with Sun and be like, okay, he's right, we're gonna follow what he does, or split push completely, or they just let him die and say, he's gonna make mistakes as well. So
Right.
I think they need to have more synergy as a team and be on the same page, whether it's letting Sun die and do his thing, which Sun does a lot, but he's usually bringing 5 people toward him as he does it, or you just do what he does with him.
It is draft time. It was a dramatic pause.
Nice. Well done.
I might have forgot the word draft for a hot moment. It is draft time for this game. We've got Richter already on the cards with the Hangouts opposing him. Let's talk through the match for Indonesia. We touched on the storyline there for Thailand, but Indonesia had a real rough first go of it. What were the parts of it you think are salvageable? I think that's the best way to go at it.
Okay, let me just talk about the problems so that we can talk about what they need to fix.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because the things that it's hard to even talk about the things that went well because it was just doomed to start. They picked comps that play a certain way, and then they didn't play that way. So they need to play the way that their comps tell them to play. Or don't pick those comps.
Play to your composition's strength, right. Shout out to Sun for highlighting the Wisp again.
By the way, for a second there, production had Thailand at 0 wins and 3 losses. Are they trying to tell us something?
There's a prediction coming through from Garana's production team. Indonesia, in order to upset this, need to do, I think, a little bit of what China had, though. And that is real good coordination in the team fight, real good coordination across the map, if not that. Because Thailand don't have any weaknesses in their individual play. Micro, perfect. Mechanics, perfect. The issues come with miscommunications. If Indonesia can exploit that, then maybe there's an angle. But failing that, I find it hard to see we get a repeat of what happened earlier today with China.
Yeah. There needs to be a coordinated effort to capitalize on potential mistakes from Thailand, which China was able to do a couple of times. Mm-hmm. If you look at the key turning points of both of those games, it was China grouping up as 5 to punish Thailand overstepping or making general errors. I don't see Indonesia doing that. To be frank, I just see them trying to match Thailand blow for blow in these little skirmishes, and honestly, the Thailand players are just better at that in a macro sense, or sorry, micro sense.
Yeah. Jake Ryan in the Facebook chat asks, why does everyone hover over Wisp? That's an in-joke with Sun.
Why don't you hover over Wisp in your ladder games is what I want to know.
Okay, that's real aggressive, Daniel. And we're not doing that to the nice people in the Facebook chat. It's a little in-joke with Sun, is the long story short. Lindis and Mr. Suns will draft the Varus as well, giving Thailand a pretty strong brawling opening roster. They can run that Saffra in support or mid lane. Lindis will go to the jungle, and Varus can play in either of the side lanes. Opposing possibly the Saffra in mid is the Tulan, and one of the side lanes will be the Florentino, and in support, again possibly opposing the Saffra, it's a Baldum.
I think we're going to see double banned mid lane again. It's going to be fun. And it's going to be on the winning team this time. Knock on wood.
Tulan, the ban will be Telenas. That's going to be a little bit out of the ordinary, but we have seen Moonwan play a stellar Telenas, so
yeah,
it might just be the research. Although they did lose that game, must be said.
Yeah. That's true. Telenas is not having a good time in this tournament.
No.
Now that you said it. Even when she's supposed to win, even when she's on the heavily favored team, it's not a good time.
We had this discussion when the Telenas got locked in by Moonwan during that Thailand versus China game. I said, man, I'm really not feeling Telenas. And you said, I think that's just because Telenas keeps getting played on losing sides. At what point does correlation become causation, Daniel?
When we have more than one game of sample size.
But we've seen multiple Telenases lose.
In a situation in which we expected her to lose.
I don't buy it. Murad will come through with the Darcy, both jungle bans from Thailand, taking advantage of the fact they've already removed the Lindis. Opposing them, it's going to be the Alistair taken out of a support or mid-lane role. That's a fun ban because those are the two roles that Saffra might fill. Normally we talk about kind of flexibility. Because the Saffra is there, it's really hard to ban against this Thai roster, because if you ban supports, they play Saffra in support and pick a mid. If you ban the best mid laner, they play Saffra in mid and pick a support, because Saffra is fine as either.
Right, so instead what you want to do is kind of steer the opponent in a certain direction and then counter that.
Have they done that?
Not really.
All right.
I don't really see because I don't really see what Indonesia is going for here. Especially with an Omen. That Omen was locked in. They have Omen Florentino. So this is a Florentino in the Abyssal lane. These are not flexible heroes other than playing in the side lanes.
Okay.
Talking about Florentino and Omen, so
of characters I'm not a big fan of though. Scud is one of them.
Scud is like your version of my Chognar.
Yeah. Because I believe that people can play Scud well. I just don't know why you would, because in my opinion, Scud is just bad Irie. And Irie's already pretty bad.
I like Irie better than you. I like Irie better than the community. The community likes Scud better than Irie, though. So, you think Scud is a bad Irie. I think... Okay. You think of Scud as like a 1, and Irie is like a 2. I think of Scud as like a 6, and Irie's like a 3, and the community thinks that Irie is like a -10, and Scud is like a 5.
It's all over the place, but I do feel that Scud is a one-and-done assassin. You play him, you dive in, you spend your abilities, and then he doesn't have enough mobility to leave. And unless you build him to be that squishy and have that much damage, he's utterly ineffective, in my opinion, because he doesn't do enough damage to be relevant to team fights. Either way, there'll be a secondary tank on the team as well. No, we're blowing past this. A Roxy drafted. Let's talk overall draft. You can harass me over my characterization of picks later. We finish things up with a Kriknak for Indonesia to play in their jungle against a Lindis. This is going to be Varus in the mid lane, presumably.
Yeah, almost certainly. So Varus mid lane, Roxy and Scud are going to be having musical chairs with Omen and Florentino, because you want to get the Scud against the Florentino, you want to get the Roxy against the Omen. Although it's not a terrible matchup, even if it goes the other way. So that's going to happen. But for the side of Thailand, it's going to be a lot of emphasis on Linus getting her damage in. That said, it's going to be lots of gravity put towards Sudden here, as he's going to be really being a nuisance with that punish talent, just constantly taking the opponent's jungle.
It's always the side benefit of running a second punish. You just always have a little bit extra. All right, we have a moment now. Explain to me why my opinions about Scud are wrong.
Well, you said he doesn't have enough damage to kill people. He has plenty of damage. He can wipe out an entire team.
Scud
but the
does
problem
have
with
plenty of
Scud
damage,
is that...
But if you build for that damage, then you don't have enough HP to get out after you use the damage, making him just lame Kriknak.
Well, the idea is that you kill two people and then before you die. But I think the bigger worry is that you don't even get to the team fight. Yeah, basically. The bigger worry is you don't even get to the team fight. You get gunned down by like a Telenos before you even get there. But
he
there is
has
no
mobility.
He has a dash. He has 2 dashes if you land as Wild Beast Fury.
Oh.
There's no marksman to... I mean, there's no marksman for Scud to get to, but there's also no marksman to just kite him to oblivion on the side of Indonesia either. I think Scud's going to have a good time this game.
Send me your hate mail. Not a fan of Scud. We'll load into the game, though, and I'll have an opportunity to be proven right or wrong. So, is there any reason in the draft for you to shift your opinion? Obviously, I provided my reason. I'm not a fan of Scud, but I do think overall the Thai draft is good. Indonesia also have an alright draft, but it doesn't feel directional enough. It's not obviously...
They did the same thing again. No marksman. They need to win early, and they don't have a specific enough comp to win early. Like, what is the Florentino doing there if they're trying to get early skirmishes? I suppose Florentino can just duel, but he's not going to snowball the game in a way in which you're getting picks left and right. He's basically relying on the opponent to fight him. And if you just don't fight him, you're not going to be able to snowball the game.
Yeah. I think that's an accurate assessment. So, Indonesia, a somewhat directionless draft, or at least confused direction. It's not going north, it's not going east, it's going northeast.
It reminds me of the Simpsons episode a long time when Kane and what was the other alien who were running for president? And
I never watched the Simpsons. I know everything.
That was the 1990. That was 1996 presidential election. Huh? Wow, that was a long ago episode, and I still remember it. Anyway, so
I wasn't born when you were watching that episode of.
Anyway, I'm explaining it. So one of them says, "We will not go forwards, not forwards, not backwards, not leftwards, not rightwards, but twirling, always twirling towards freedom." That's his speech, and everyone applauded.
It's Thailand versus Indonesia in the first game of this match for the AWC group stage.
Nice. Muon is twirling. He loves twirling.
Oh my god, they all do. I was ready to brush past your Simpsons reference awkwardly, but big fans of twirling, apparently. And the Simpsons. Oh, that's good. Bloody kiss through. Parker already takes damage.
I love the bands in the middle. More bands, please. More damage bands. Pow.
It's going to be Poga and Miss R trying to get out of the mid, but you can already see.
Oh, the monkey! Oh, like
damage headed their way as Sun does successfully steal away some jungle. Poga will push forward. J-Jack. Oh, Mr. Subs pulled forward by a wild charge. It's first blood to Indonesia.
That was a very surprising rotation. All 5 members actually congregated around that area, and that's what we need to see Indonesia do, is to really catch them off guard if they're going to have any success in this match.
A very, very good start from Indonesia, though.
Yeah, this is what I wanted to see from them in their match against Chinese Taipei. They need to be hyper aggressive. They need to have weird rotations that throw the Thai team off guard, just like that.
When you're playing versus the best teams in the world, there is an instinctive reaction to play careful and slow, to not make any mistakes at any cost. But if you do that, the best team in the world will play their ideal game versus your ideal game. And if you think they're better than you, you won't win. Instead, you have to play a messy game to force them to make mistakes like this. Flicker, wild charge in. Mr. Sun's under threat again, but he's got Hans down in trade. Getsearch finds the damage from behind the tower.
Mr. Sun's doing an amazing job to get away there, get his bloody kiss off, and make sure he's out of there. And in revenge, Getsearch able to get the return kill and punish them.
Getsearch, J-Jack, Sun, all here, focusing the Abyssal. And it will be stolen away. Indonesia get the Dragon, but the wild charge. That turns things back. Moonwon needs the kill. Hans to trade. It's 2 for 1. So far, so good for Thailand. Indonesia will find one more. That's Poker back in. J-Jack low. Hans makes it happen. The madman. That's a double kill to him. Now Thunderbird through. Sun's gone as well. And it's just Moonwon, just Sun on opposite sides of the map trying to play safe.
I will not have you blaspheme Han's name with a mere double kill, TJ. That was a triple kill. That was a literal 1v3. And at any time, if one more auto came out of Getsearch, any Lunar Champion, anything came out, he would have died. But he managed to weave through it all and kill all of them in that.
Absolutely incredible play, and another testament to the fact that you should not let a good player get Florentino.
Well, he's already proving me wrong about the Florentino pick and the ability to brawl. He's certainly capable of fighting in crazy odds like that.
This is the aggression that I think we were looking for. This is what I wanted to see.
Looks like they were listening to the English broadcast.
I don't believe that.
Aggression, huh? Sounds good.
Very good look, though. Indonesia able to force Thailand onto the back foot, as I was saying prior to the team fights. If you play a messy game versus a team that's better than you, then everyone's messy, and their skill difference is greatly reduced.
It's absolutely the case, and with over 1,000 gold lead, they can certainly take a lot of these team fights a lot easier now. I would like to see more aggression come in.
Look at how much that... full dive in. Mr. Suns wants revenge. Backlines. Hans goes for 2. It might not work out, but he's got J-Jack low. We're out through, and Hans gets the kill. I don't believe it. He's a madman with Florentino. Sun wants the kill and revenge, and he will get it. Now Moonwon's through as well. Thunderbird won't finish the kill, but it will tag him low and force both teams to withdraw. A 1-for-1 trade in the middle of the map.
It seems like the only way to kill Hans is just to prevent him from actually being able to move or use abilities, because even at extremely low levels of health, as we saw again there, he can just dance his way around you. Great combos by Hans. The instant he pops his Blossom or his Gentleman's Duel, he's instantly on every single flower. Boom, lunge, boom, triple that, boom, lunge, and constantly going back and forth into his combos. And there's really no response from Thailand to stop him from doing that unless they just completely lock him down like you saw from Suns.
If only the rotate from that top lane was a character that could do more damage.
Like Scud. Scud actually did a really good job. I was about to mention that we put all the focus on Hans, but Scud did a really good job around the Abyssal fight before he just went down with no abilities afterward.
He chunks that tower as well. Him and Getsearch grab it. Now the rotate comes through for the fight. Give us the camera on Hans, please. There it is. 1 kill already to it. Moonwon low. Thunderbird to chase. He's gone. A double kill back to Indonesia in vengeance for their tower. Bot lane. Sun needs to hold. Agni's grasp will land. Y-Force has the flicker away. His Death's Embrace is already there. And We're Out goes in 1v2, chunking both defenders quite low.
I think that Thailand really needs to be on the massive lookout for Hans. If he isn't anywhere near the area, he has so much farm now that they can't even contest him at all. So I'm Thailand. I really need to be vigilant about him and change my play because...
Son, the lifesteal from Bloody Kiss, but it does not save him. We're out in trouble as well, and Moonwon's here. He will be shut down. Poker intervenes. Nicely done. As Myther escapes, Indonesia get another kill scot-free. It's now 10-4 in the kill feed.
Sorry, I was watching Hans do some more crazy shenanigans in the mid lane. One thing I do want to say, though, is that this is the first tower it looks like to go down for Indonesia's side. If they can't turn this lead into towers, then it's all for naught because Thailand still has the late game because they simply have a marksman on their side. Indonesia really needs to be looking for towers at this stage of the game.
They need to be turning those 10 kills they have into more than kills. I will say, however, the fact that Hans are scaling well ought to be worrying.
That's a big deal. That is a shutdown. That's a lot of gold in the coffers of TH.
Good pickup. Myth are in trouble as well. Thailand want more, and they will be able to get it. The Wild Prison's too late, and it's a second kill back to Thailand. They've been stabilized.
Yeah, absolutely. And with no Hans to actually deal with, no reason to think that they're going to get 1v5'd, then they can just freely move around the map for the time that Hans is away.
Uh-oh. We're out? Can you get out from this? Yeah, I can. Parker's in the area. That will mean neither of them can properly challenge for that official, but sacrifices must be made for their survival.
I wonder if Omen can kill in the top lane.
Maybe. Poke in. Mr. Suns, he's gone. Hans and We're out. The two players I was saying you should be worried about. They come back from unfortunate ends, and they managed to find a kill. Now they want this tower in mid, and it should go over to Indonesia. This is the scrappy game I was calling for.
Yeah, the fact that they're all over the map means that Thailand was slow to rotate to this mid lane. That means they give the tower. There's no way for Getzers to hold that on his own. And Indonesia are starting to get these towers that I talked about.
Nobody can leverage their tactics if you're all brawling above a mud heap. Weirao will go in. J-Jack nuked low. Will blow Tides of Life, but that's a win for Weirao, and the Thunderbird almost shuts him down anyway.
Whew, that was a really good block there. That didn't go through, then all of a sudden there's another rotation, another death time that they need to survive. As it stands, Thailand's still in this game, only down about 3,000 gold here. If they can kind of dampen Hans a little bit.
I have two builds I have questions about. One, Rhea's Blessing is the second item on Tuma. Oh,
it's a very aggressive item. He's trying to snowball this game. A lot of times you go for a defensive item.
Wild Beast Fury, that's the kill. We're out gone. Now Poker through as well. Sun needs to get out of here because you could just see the damage coming through from Hans. Mr. Suns is here to answer. He will be eaten up by the Wild Prison. That should slow things down. Indonesia don't get what they want.
Get Search is really chunking now. That's a really big deal for Thailand that he's gone online at the moment.
Hans didn't get out. The Tides of Life. J-Jack checks the bush with it. There's no way to find that kill.
For the second time in a row, Hans uses Gentleman's Duel on the wrong target. First it was on Sun, this time it was on J-Jack. And because they're able to keep themselves alive, the damage is able to come out from Get Search, and he is taken down once more.
Y4's in trouble, 4 players on him. He'll land the Death Embrace, but to little avail. As that's going to be another kill back to Thailand. They bring this kill deficit right back in. It's now 9-11.
Honestly, the turnaround is in full force right here for Thailand. I think this is a game to lose, considering that they're coming in as the favorites and the fact that they basically have the late game composition. I give them a very, very good chance of winning this game right now that they've almost completely turned it around.
I'm sure their fans will be happy to hear you say it. Dark Slayer. Get Search. Should be able to grab it. There's, in fact, nobody even trying to contest from Indonesia. Just like that, it's scooped up. Indonesia now down to Dark Slayer. Oh, sorry. Down to Dark Slayer, down in Abyssal. And the gold lead's heading up against him.
Yeah, the gold is pretty much even at the moment here. And as long as things go evenly on both sides, then Thailand has the advantage because, again, they have the backline damage to their name. Getcher's going to be hitting like a truck.
Mr. Sums looking for a setup here from the mid lane. Myther and Weirao are like right there.
I'm not sure why he used that
No.
Thunderbird.
I mean, no cost to it. Cooldown's pretty short. Myther in trouble here. Does stay ahead, but not ahead of Moonwon, who leaps over the wall as if to prove my points about Scud wrong. Absolutely deleting Myther.
Big fist to the face. Muon's making his mark right now.
Things looked dicey, but Indonesia have been slapped aside as we head towards the late game. Thailand pick up the pieces.
And Hans, he cannot be dying so easily. He needs to realize that he can't take 1v3s anymore. It happened earlier, it's not going to happen anymore.
Dragon approaching the tower now. Y-Force and Pocket, what do you make of this? Wild Prison will be blown. Mr. Sun's in the area, we're out for the wave clear. Now they just need to get rid of the Drake, and they've got it. Myther again with a strange Thunderbird, but no cost, I guess.
It is a little bit of a cost, though, because Team Thailand can kind of get near him knowing he's not going to have that finishing capability.
Yeah, it's weird. Because there's just no reason to cast Thunderbird against a full HP target, because it will do literally nothing. The damage scales based on how low your opponent is. It's very good for finishing off people at about a quarter HP, but it's not really useful otherwise.
Boomstick on the support Sephra from J-Dog here. He loves the damage.
Oh, Hans, stay away from all that nonsense. Moonwon goes in. Abyssal Dragon. Enraged Abyssal Dragon. Not up yet, so this is the lesser one. But Thailand will get it.
Oh, Han's still there. Moonwon is really thirsty for that kill.
On him.
He's got a big fist and he knows how to use it.
How do you feel about this Florentina build from Hans?
It's somewhat standard. Lots of damage, but you throw in...
Madness is the weird
Yeah, Hercules...
Right?
Oh, no, that's not weird at all. That is very, very standard on a Florentino. If you get low, you want to have that life steal. You want to have that emergency shield. So it's also a very good hybrid item for him. He definitely loves to have Hercules Madness. In fact, some people build it first on him.
So what stands out to you then?
Well, I mentioned it before, the Boomstick on the Sephra playing as the support role. That is pretty nuts. The reason why you build Boomstick, by the way, is you can't build Apocalypse, because as a support Sephra, you usually go for Frostcape. And if you build Frostcape and Apocalypse, and the Apocalypse passive goes over...
He gets the tower, but there's no way he survives this. Oh, the Hercules Madness saves him. Good call. Glad you explained that to us. Get Search and clean it up, though, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, in the end, the teamwork was there, but he did get a tower, and he is proving that he can take a fight against the burst of Scud, even despite how much damage is coming out of Muon.
Here will be the Dark Slayer of programs. Poke is nearby. And J-Jack's just to poke.
Indonesia much better positioning around this Dark Slayer, but I don't know if it's going to be enough as 5 come in.
Yep, here's the fight. Y-Force with the Death's Embrace. Does get searched low, but they can't finish the kill. That's the one they needed. The Thunderbird doesn't connect. Myther does have big AoE damage, though, and that adds up. Thailand, very low across the board. Hans was the first to fall. He's respawned now. Y-Force down in the middle of this fight, and Poka barely survives. A lot of low HPs on Thailand, but none of them die.
Getzert actually did fall, but he had the resurrection, obviously, to get him back up. I can't believe they even got that. It seemed like he was already saved by the Tides of Life, but amazing Death Beacon coming out from Y-Force, and then the passive from Myther is able to take him out. Fortunately, Getzert is so farmed that he already had...
Indonesia try to turn that into an Abyssal, and they lose. We're out for the privilege. Oh, and they try and fight it. Hans could go down as well, but it's a great wild prison. I don't think that's enough to turn it, though. Myther in the area is looking for a cheeky Thunderbird, but it's just not going to happen. 2 players down in exchange for an Abyssal.
Just too much burst coming out here from Thailand. The combination of Getzert and Muon is plenty to start taking out these members, and because they have that nice fortress ahead of them, it's very hard for Indonesia to get to the back line. Can Thailand end this right here, right now?
Myther, Poka, in the area, looking for the fight. 3 players remain. Myther needs to play this back, and his grasp does land on the Poka. He's gone. Now Y-Force is the player to hold and defend. The respawns come through in about 10 seconds for Hans and we're out. That high ground tower, though, is gone. And Y-Force is in trouble. Myther just needs to keep accelerating backwards. His Thunderbird falls on deaf ears. The Death's Embrace does slow down the play. There's very low HP on the minion wave as We're looks for the flank. J-Jack's low. He could find this. Sun instead is his target underneath the tower. That's a good fight, but the tower itself is gone. And Thailand are continuing to press ever forwards onto victory. They've got their wave. They've got their opportunity. Vitter's gone. We're up 5 damage, but it's just not enough. With slivers of HP, Thailand finished the game.
Who would have thought that after 5 or 6 hours of casting, that Thailand would barely scrape on to their first victory of the day?
We're in our 7th hour of casting, if you would like to know.
Something like that. 1 billion hours we've been casting.
17 hours across the last 2 days. And it is the first time we've seen Thailand's main team win again.
That was way more dicey for Thailand than I'm sure they wanted it to be. They kind of showed that they can be exploited in a way, especially against an amazing performance from Hans on that Florentino until the mid game. Then he fell apart completely.
But the early game was magical.
You know what? I said to you during the break, like, how is this Indonesia team? How is it so pitiful in their match against Chinese Taipei? I was much more harsh on them in the break than I was on cast. And honestly, I'm starting to see why they're able to just talent their way through the Indonesia draw to Indonesia region, because they have some amazing micro capabilities. It's just, I wish they would have their heads screwed on right for some of these fights and some of these macro decisions, because Hans, he went from being a world beater to a complete liability as the game went on.
Yeah. The ideas are great, the theories are good, but if you're just taking bad fights, if you're just splitting across the map in strange ways, it doesn't matter how fed you are from the early game, you won't be able to win.
Exactly. And you see, like, even the builds here coming out from the side of Thailand, very smart. Muon going for the Desticle, making sure to keep himself alive in these fights so he can get his damage off. In the end, the Thailand righted their ship. They made sure that Hans could be bursted down, made sure that the only people who were getting caught in his ultimate were the beefier ones. And that they were able to shut down the game. MVP. Oh my god! Scott MVP! Oh, thank you, producers. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much.
MVP to the game does go questionably to the player with the most deaths. That's going to be 3 deaths on Mulan. I'm not sure I agree with that, to be honest.
Beautiful player.
But there will be another chance for the production team to get the MVP right. When we come back from this break, game number 2 between Thailand and Indonesia. It was a close game 1. Maybe Indonesia have a little bit more in the bank. We'll have to see if they can pull it out. Thailand looking for their 2nd win, equalizing their record here in Group B. Indonesia's back, and so are their World Cup dreams. My name's TJ, joined by D2, as we're back into our coverage of the 2019 Arena Valor World Cup. Indonesia struggled in that first series they played earlier today. Here versus Thailand, they still lost, but it looked real close, Daniel.
Is it bad or is it wrong for me to feel more disappointed in Team Indonesia after that one? Because if Hans is that good at Florentino, then I feel like they should be winning more games. Like, don't do stupid things, please.
I mean, I'm about to drop some real truths on you, Daniel.
Go ahead.
Is it Hans or Florentino?
Okay, if you've ever played Florentino, and I have,
I try not to. But I have.
I even spent hours like practicing his combo. That was clean. The way he was able to combo.
But
like, it's hard to do what he did.
Right. He's good. Don't get me wrong. All these players at this level are. But he had one good combo. And I've yet to see Hans repeat it on any other character. I've yet to see Indonesia prove to me that they can consistently do that. Now, I believe they can, but they need to prove that to the world.
True. Maybe Hans has just been in the practice room playing Florentino constantly.
Yeah. I want more consistency from Indonesia, as do many of their fans. That man doesn't want anything. He's calm.
The thing is, Team Thailand.
Quiet.
I'm sorry to rain on Muon's nap.
What are you doing? Okay.
I didn't want to rain on Muon's nap, but Team Thailand, they have a general idea of how Florentino works. They know that he can take 1v3s, but they know how to play around it too. And generally, like what kind of power level he has. For them to get completely destroyed by that
what is in the craft services over at Da Nang, Vietnam, that all of these players look slightly sleepy? What is in the lunch?
It is a grueling day. I don't know.
Yeah, it must be fairly hot as well, although they're all wearing jackets, so not too hot, maybe. They just all seem a bit tired, you know?
They're just embracing their inner zen.
Yeah, fair enough. And they'll need to be zen. We're into the game for game number 2. I called the draft early, but I was right, so it works out. Indonesia over on the left, the blue side. Thailand, the right, the red side.
Thailand in a similar situation to North America yesterday, where they're trying to come back from a deficit.
Yeah. They lost a series they shouldn't have against China. Now they need to stabilize, otherwise they're going to leave this group real late.
Right, and if they get into a lot of trouble, they could finish 4th and maybe have to have a grudge match against their old Thailand wildcard team.
And that would be fun. It would be basically AHQ versus AHQ.
Except AHQ TDC.
I'd watch that.
The Toyota Diamond Cobra, or TOG Diamond Cobra branch of
Toyota
HQ.
Diamond Cobra rears its head again. Game versus Indonesia. We're into the ban phase, but before we get to that, I'm going to take a question from the Facebook chat. Of course, if you're watching in-game, I can't see your questions, unfortunately. But Tobias from the Facebook chat asks how many games there are upcoming. And I would like to tell you exactly how many games there are upcoming after this game right now. We'll have China playing Korea, and we'll close things out with Thailand playing Vietnam. You were saying about the draft. What's upsetting you?
I said 5 to answer the question. That's 5 games, like actual games, not series. 2.5 series if you're counting that way.
China versus Korea and Thailand versus Vietnam.
Yes.
Florentino, Zenial, the first 2 for Thailand in this next draft.
I love how Thailand has no rhyme or reason. A lot of times we see teams have very similar drafts the game after they win. Thailand's like, Zenial, Florentino, let's do that. We just played what was it? Scud and what was the other guy? Roxy. They're like Scud, Roxy. This time Xenial Florentino. Let's just have some musical chairs. Let's spin the wheel to see who we play this time.
Thai Twitter was saying that they had a clip of Sun turning to the guy next to him and saying, "Don't worry, trust me," and locking in Scud. It's easy.
Hey, if I'm gonna trust anyone, it's gonna be Sun. He is world champion after all.
Yeah, sure, why not? Xenial, Florentino, Nakroth, the first three. Elsu, Murad, Sulen for Indonesia. That's going to give Indonesia a lot of scaling, snowballing tools. Elsu, Murad, both characters that get real scary if they get out ahead in the early game, but can suffer if they fall behind. Somewhat similar to what was happening last game, but they have a kit for it if they can land the shots again. Tool a little bit different, but he'll have the power needed in the early game to kind of boost those first two into being fed, so I like the idea. Opposing them, it's just a real solid draft, though not in the order I would have expected. Lots of mobility, lots of split push potential between Florentino, Xenial, and Nakroth.
Son, when he plays Xenial, has this weird habit of just killing DS laners who normally are good at dueling. Like, I don't know how he does it. It's like, Xenial should lose this matchup. And then Son's like, no, I'm just going to have my cake and eat it too, if that's okay with you. I'm going to win this duel, and then I'm going to go to the team fight.
Yeah. And it's really scary when you start to see that pay off. We'll see if it does here. I've been excited today by how many good Nakroths we've seen. Because good Nakroths are few and far between, but here at the AWC, of course, the level of talent is higher than ever. The second ban phase comes through. It will be Talanas and Liliana over for Indonesia.
Oh!
Natalia coming through after Thailand ban out Baldum and Teamy.
This is a throwback. Thailand has loved Natalia for a long time. In fact, they brought her to the 2018 AWC when no one else was playing her, partially to combine with Garak, who was another hero that no one else played outside of Thailand. And if anyone's going to be able to play Natalia to a full potential, it's going to be a player from Thailand. This time it's going to be Mr. Suns.
So, I don't like picking Natalia into Murad and Elsu. Am I crazy?
No, you're not. I was excited for the Natalia pick in just on its surface, but then I looked over the other side. I'm like, Tulin, yeah, Nelson, Zuka.
Those are basically the sounds I made, except less sensual. Zuka Aura will come through for Indonesia to close things out. That Zuka gives another tool that can dive the Natalia and blow him up, though I have been a noted critic of the Zuka today. We'll see a Aram as well. That's going to be the first time we've seen an Aram on the AWC stage.
I've been very critical of teams picking Aram, especially in the NA community tournaments that I had. People seem to overestimate her because she is theoretically capable of locking down someone who can dive the backline like a Quillen or a Richter or what have you. But in this specific case, and by specific I mean going against a Florentino that's going to be playing in the Abyssal lane, I think it's a reasonable choice because those two are going to be matching up a lot together, the Arm versus the Florentino. So in this very specific case, I am on board with the Arm pick. Normally, I think it's chosen by mistake.
Full draft complete. Not a big... Sorry?
Support Xenial. Okay.
Yeah, that had to be coming through.
Not necessarily, because we had Varus picked last, so Varus could have been a support.
Have we?
No. I'm saying, no. Before Varus was picked, they could have gone with a support and then had Xenial in the DS lane. So I'm saying.
Yeah. Sorry, it's been a couple hours. I mean to step on your toes, Daniel.
You're a couple of hours.
You're a couple of toes. Thailand have completed their roster. And I'm a big fan of that support Xenial. You might be like, TJ, why are you a big fan of that support Xenial? Because that was the draft they had, And if they put the Xennial in that side lane, they're in for a bad time. But they need a Xennial.
What?
They need a Xennial in order to back up their arm. Or sorry, their Natalia.
Just throw names out. It's fine.
I swear it makes sense. They weren't going to win the Xennial in either side lane. It was a bad matchup for them either way. But by putting in the support role, they get to keep the Xennial functioning on the map to support their Natalia, while still having a better shot of winning their side lanes. Back over to you, Daniel.
Awesome. What's Indonesia's lineup again? I wish they had it on the screen. Our memories are fading right now.
It's been 8 hours of broadcast today, 10 yesterday. I apologize if things are getting a little bit loopy here. We've only got 2 more days of the group stage to go.
Actually, I have a question. I wonder if Tulin's going to be played in the Abyssal lane and they put Elsu mid. It wouldn't be crazy because Tulin can play side lane.
I'm not a fan of Tulin's side lane. I know some players in the Valor series and across various levels of international competition have pulled him off, but I've always felt that it's just been a demonstration of how good those specific players are more than anything else.
Hey, we've seen some darn good play from this Indonesian squad. Not as a team, and not in tactics. I was gonna say not for like former things, just to rub it in, but they do have good microplay.
Yeah. Don't be mean.
Oh, sorry. That's my default right now.
Why you're D2? Default 2.
Oh god.
We're at the game number 2 between Thailand and Indonesia.
Of day 2, which is D2.
Day
That's
2.
right,
C2's everywhere. 2 players in that mid-bush, Moonwan and Y-Force, going head-to-head for now. They'll both back out in a hurry as the snipes start to rain through. So this was what I was worried about. Running a relatively static lane into the Elsu could be dangerous. That's why they don't sending the Natalia, Mr. Suns, down to the bottom lane.
Huh. I was not expecting that. I was expecting Mr. Suns to just say, well, I can clear a wave quickly, let's just not deal with the Tulin at all, but I guess you're going to do it this way.
J-Jack is in the area with Moonwan, both trying to poke in. So, I'm a little bit worried about, like, mid-Florentino.
Yeah. He's got a lot coming towards him when he goes in for the wave clear.
Because he does best in those individual duels. That's why you normally see him up in the Slayer lane where he gets a consistent 1v1.
Oh.
Instead, though, they feel comfortable continuing to brawl. Y-Force on the Zuka is knocked very low. Moonwan almost goes down to a response. Now Mr. Sums will go through. Poker absolutely nuked to close range. Not even Aram can survive the wrath of a Natalia.
Natalia has the most burst in the entire game, and I was wondering how Mr. Suns was going to fare without a setup, but all he needs is one Malleus and one slowdown from the shield of J-Jock, and he's got his target.
Now, Spirit Sentinel will be up for grabs. Get Search and Sun both go in for it, and it will be a pretty clean pickup to Thailand. That means the focus, though, is away from this Abyssal Dragon Pen, and Indonesia were trying to take advantage of that. The snipes arc through. Poker knocked low, but we're out through. The Temporal Turbulence does massive damage, but fails to pick up any kills. They'll get J-Jack after some time.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but somehow Thailand is getting baited into Aram's tankiness. Moonwan went in on a full combo on him, and obviously Aram's not going to die because of the massive amount of healing that she has. Oh, good flicker from Mr. Suns. But yeah, Thailand's getting baited by Poka.
This Abyssal Dragon I thought was going to be attempted by Indonesia, but they reset it instead. J-Jack's in the area, but he doesn't have vision. Instead, the rest of Thailand need to rotate down. Hans might be a little bit too far forward with Getsearch in the area, but I don't think Getsearch can quite do the damage yet. They'll want the Abyssal.
Getsearch, reasonable amount of farm, 1.6A, the most in the game at the moment, so he's going to be keeping on that to make sure that he has enough burst to burst someone down once he dives on them.
Mr. Sons and Sun. What do we call them as a duo?
The two sons.
But they're both sons.
The two sons.
I guess they're just brothers if they're both the same sons. That will be the Abyssal Dragon, focused by Indonesia. It'll be scooped up. Y-Force doing pretty well for himself as Zuka's go. I worry for him now, though, as Get Search accelerates in. That should be the tower up top in trade for that Abyssal. But the wave is pretty low. J-Jack actually knocked down by Mither. Half HP, tower's gone. But Indonesia still are holding strong across the map. This is going pretty well for them.
This time Indonesia gets baited because Y-Force tried to go on J-Jack. Instead, they're able to get the tower because of the fact that he tried to commit. And Thailand, they walk away with that tower like you mentioned.
Y-Force and Poker will be drifting down from the top lane, looking for pressure into the mid. I like that Indonesia are focusing a little bit on the farm in the early phase. I said kind of their goal at farm up their key characters. I said you want to get Hans and Wirao out ahead. I may extend that to Y-Force as well. I feel like if Zuka doesn't have a gold lead, he's not very useful.
Yeah, not at all. Especially if you're going against the Florentino. That's the entire purpose of the Zuka. It's the same thought process behind playing Zuka against the Florentino that we saw earlier. And,
uh-oh. Uh-oh! Lethal Ray through. Hans finds the kill. Point blank range. The Angelic Splendor saves the day. Good for one. J-Jack low. The kill trade will come through. Gets her torques in. Finds Hans. Poka tagged low as well. Cannot confirm the second kill. A 1-1 trade in the bot lane.
I can't even believe what we just saw through that. We saw the great parts and the terrible parts of Natalia in the save fight, completely bursting down on Hans, initially reversing that fight, but after the Angelic Splendor came in, all it took was one dodge from Hans to make sure that he's able to take out Mr. Sun in the end. And oh my goodness, the baits from J-Jack as well.
What do you do about this? Snipes, don't do it. If you stole away that jungle camp, this could be so upset. Hans is in the area, looking for this.
J-Jack is not shy about doing damage with Zenio. He's like, I'm a support, but I'm gonna kill
J-Jack
you.
has many things. Passive is not one of them. Sun wrapped up, Lethal Ray through, and Sun just nukes him. The Abyssal Dragon was taken. It was taken by Thailand, actually. And they're looking real good as they grab the kills as well. That's Poka and Wirao both gone.
That was a very big Arcane Orb. As you know, the Arcane Orb does stun before it slows. And if that stun didn't go off, then there was another Temporal Turbulence coming out from Wirao, and it could have been Mr. Sun's death.
Snipe. Waiting. Hans arcs through. Oh, the combo, that's perfect. As Wirao, as Y-Force comes through, Hans times it, so they have a massive burst of damage, chunking J-Jack below half HP.
Unfortunately, that's the wrong target to go after. You don't really want to try to kill the support, especially when he does have his shield up to protect him, the Divine Protection. So, yeah, maybe try to go for someone more squishy. Good effort. Try a different hero.
I feel like if it was any other character on the map, they would just be dead.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
It was a real good combo.
By the way, Get Search, he has picked up his rank breaker. He's going for Omnioms right now. He's going to do a lot of damage to squishies.
Angelic Splendor through, Thunderbird connects, Mither with a kill, point blank range, and that's too close. He'll be shut down. Moon 1 for 2. Thailand on a rampage. They've got 2, and Poka's just running for his life. Y-Force chained down. 3 kills in the bot lane. Thailand stands strong.
Poka, what are you doing? No support runs away from his team. You gotta die for them, Poka. Of course, that's just the power of the Thailand team coming to get you. I love, by the way, at the end of that Mu-1, he's like, well, my Hercules Madness shield popped. I might as well use it to take some shower shots. Like, might as well use this thing, right?
Uh-oh. J-Jack through.
Yeah,
I don't know why I'm even worried about him. He's playing a tank boy. This is going to be Thailand for the Abyssal Dragon. Meanwhile, not doing a whole bunch of damage, but He's going to be so hard to kill in these fights. The steal attempt from Hans will come through, and he gets it! Nicely done!
I'm shaking my head because GetSearch popped his ultimate. He didn't have the punish with him. Now he's actually in a bit of trouble, but yeah, that was not really well handled, especially because I knew that the snipe could have come in. I think Mr. Suns may have wanted to save some arcane missiles for that.
What a snipe. Very well done. Thunderbird in the mid lane will tag Suns. The idea was to combo it, but the Thunderbird was a little bit too early.
I don't think it would have killed him anyway. I don't know the thinking.
Oh
my goodness.
Mither's so low, but he somehow stays alive. Now the Angelic Splendor comes through. J-Jax to take the front lines. They get 2 kills off of it. Hans and Mither both gone. Y-Force once through. J-Jack should be too far forward, but it's J-Jack on Zenial, so he may just not die, and he will not as he disengages.
The damage coming out from Mr. Suns is so great at the moment. Even an Arcane Orb was able to finish off Hans. You do not want to be messing with Mr. Suns at the moment. Oh my goodness!
So raised, Mr. Suns proves your point, but Y-Force just steps behind him.
Ooh.
Everyone else is playing AOV. Y-Force is playing Dark Souls.
The only way to
hit him in the weak spot. Y-Force for more. Dash into the mid lane. Tags GetSearch low. He backs out. Turns around. Gets the kill. Now for 2 more. Underneath the tower. They've got the tower. They've got the kills. Sun survives. Midor on the flee will be able to escape. But for how long as he needs to re-engage in order to save his team? Angelic Splendor will come through. J-Jack cannot save Moonwon, who does go down despite the Angelic Splendor.
This is exactly what I'm talking about, though. With the Indonesian team, they have so much talent, but they waste it because they go in single file, TJ. You saw Y-Force try to go in 1v3 and save that, but he had no chance of pulling that off. He gets taken down. Then they start coming in after them. Hans gets taken down as well. Poco goes for the snare. There's no follow-up. And that just means that they lose a tower and trade evenly, and that continues, and they're going to lose this game.
Lethal raise from Mr. Suns. He won't be able to find anything. The Abyssal Dragon's the focus instead. But GetSearch to grab it.
So this has been a difficult game here for Thailand, but they are edging ahead. Decent gold lead, decent tower lead. And that affords them the room to possibly start taking these major objectives and making room on the map. Y-Force trying to prove single-handedly that Zuka in fact does counter Florentino.
Mid lane tower? Whereas got it. He's knocked up a bit like J-Jack as Y-Force tries to brawl down bottom. GetSearch will get the kill. There's the aura bolt, but J-Jack knows they can just ignore it all even as the snare comes through. J-Jack stands strong with GetSearch. I'll play defense behind the tower.
Yeah, Indonesia just too slow on the jump there. Poca didn't really get the snare in time, and then after that there was obviously no follow-up. Just too fast as Team Thailand. They're too smart for that.
Poca. Just kind of hanging out. So, oh my god, that snipe. Hans has been landing him, by the way. Hans has quietly been one of the most impressive members of Team Indonesia.
I don't know about quietly.
Hans has been one of the most impressive members of Team Indonesia.
There you go. Has been very impressive indeed. Mr. Suns, by the way, has not been playing the greatest Natalia. He's landed some combos, but his lethal rays have not been on point. And the Arcane Spirits have really not been hitting their mark either. If you do hit your Arcane Spirits, it does a ton of damage, and it also resets, so you can really be a beast if you start landing them.
It's going to be another tower picked up. As much as I want to be a fan of how well this Indonesia team is playing right now this game, it's just not adding up to a win. Weirab demonstrates why, despite a good play. J-Jack just pins him down, forces out the temporal turbulence. They call for GetSearch for the kill, and it's easy. That's such good teamwork.
Has so much damage coming out from the support as well, and that is the power of a Necroth. If you're even a tiny bit low, he will track you down and kill you and get out before you can do anything about it.
Dark Slayer. Lethal Rays. It will go the way of Thailand. And maybe so will the game. Poker with the snare. They're trying to combo down a kill, but they've chosen the wrong target. Sun's entirely capable of rolling this out. Poker himself should fall. He survives. I don't believe it. Moonwan's there to take the hit as Myther tries to close out a kill in the opposite direction. But it's all for naught as Thailand do still have the Dark Slayer buff.
Thailand could have gone for even more, but they've learned from their mistakes against China. They're going to go ahead and reset and take this slowly. They should have this game in the bag. They have a reasonable late game against Indonesia. They don't really need to push this, and so that's what they're going to do.
Poker, Myther, Weirau, all in the area, looking for Poke in.
Oh,
that happened. Quietly
bottom
down
lane.
in the bot lane. Search grabs a kill.
Looks like it's a 2v1-2. Muon was in the area.
If I was watching the minimap correctly, it was just Search flying in.
Wyvor's trying to take these 1v2s. It's not working out for him.
Uh-oh. Oh. Search in trouble, but Myther can't land the Thunderbird for enough damage. Here's the Drake in the bot lane, and Poco with the snare so far forward. We've seen that a few times. It's generally not productive. There it did a lot of damage to the Drake, which pays off.
Right. The Drake actually... Oh, Hero. Got a lot of damage onto the tower.
Poca will survive. Nicely done. The Arm's been playing well here.
Thailand's doing a reasonable job pushing these minion waves at the same time. Obviously, the Drake went down, but they're doing okay. This is the major weakness of Murad. He's so much better in attacking position at against the high ground towers, but in defending position, he can't get his auto attacks off in order to enable his temporal turbulence.
Y4's in trouble, caught out, will of the shielding. That keeps him alive for a long time. J-Jack with a perfectly timed angelic splendor slows down this fight, but the kill will still come through. Moonrod falls, and that might be an even trade. Poke eats a lethal raise. He can't survive through that. The snare is still available, and his life still keeps him up for a very long time. Sun, in the meantime, falls in mid, but he's got a Blade of Eternity, so he will be back. We're out, just needs to run, as Thailand get another uncontested kill.
Oh my goodness, at the end of all that, it's a 1-for-1. Still pushing in is Thailand. They could potentially get one of these towers, and they do. Great job against Search and Myther. Oh my goodness.
Weirau, he flickers out of all of that. Nicely done. The mechanics are there, but it's just not enough. Snipes come through from Hans, well behind everything, but he can't find the kills, and there are the high ground towers falling. All three lanes, and Thailand just back off. The Dark Slayer's up in 5, and they see that as their ticket to an easy game.
Exactly. Thailand is playing this absolutely perfectly at the moment. Search, he knew that he had a Blade Eternity. That's why he was able to jump in and finish off the tower to finish off the rest of this game potentially. And after he sold the Blade of Eternity, now he does have Desicle, so he can even survive a death's blow to him, a fatal blow to him. He's gonna go for the Enraged Abyssal Dragon, I guess because he's in the area. And maybe they can have their cake and eat it too, because they're scouting the other side.
And there's no way they can test the Dark Slayer, is there?
Not really, especially because there's no Abyssal Curse anymore.
I appreciate the patience.
And then he's just like, you guys can just do that, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, what do? They don't even have a tower to hide behind.
But you see Tomer the Reaper come up on Myther, which means that potentially he could prevent some of the lifesteal coming out from Search and Muon. J-Jack as well. And Sun, actually. Lots of healing.
Look at how swole those minions are.
Yeah, they not only are they swole, but they got a little bit of steroids from the Drake here, which makes him extra swole.
These are genuinely the beefiest boys I've ever seen. Sun comes through.
Tulin's a little bit jealous.
They're taking so many hits. That's terrifying. Poker will come through. It's going to be the focus in on the core from Thailand. They've got minions in every lane. Drake in the top lane. This should be in. A strong performance from Thailand. Indonesia looked better, but this is going to be a hard game to win. Oh, it's good damage on the Search. It's not enough. Indonesia still lose 2 members for 1. Now they need to flee. It's game number 2 to Thailand as they sweep the series convincingly.
Thailand, they bring it back after their loss to China. Mush. He just kissed his hand. Oh, always trust in the sun.
Adorable.
That was beautiful. Indonesia not having a good time. Thailand, unlike their gaffes in China.
It's unfair because the entire Thailand main team is aggressively cute. Like, I can't handle it.
Oh my goodness. So they had so many gaffes against China, and this time they are calculated to no end. Get Search, even in that last fight, he made no risks, because even as he went in, he had the Dark Blessing, he had the Desicle. So as they were trying to kill him and punish him for diving in, he was just staying alive because of the 1 second immortality on Desicle, and not a whole lot you can do at that point.
No, not a whole lot you can do. The Desicle saves him, and it will be another strong performance for Thailand, which, it should say, must be relieving to their fans after a very, very shaky performance in their first game of the day where they got wiped by China. Now they have a chance back in. Thailand take care of business versus Indonesia and stabilize their record at 2-2. They'll have one more chance on the day, one more game to play towards the end when they'll face Vietnam, and they need to be on tip-top shape for that. China will be up next facing Korea, which should be a very exciting game as we get to see just how strong China is. Measuring stick will be Korea, a team that lost 2-0 in their first game of the day to Chinese Taipei.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, China, we've been kind of moving the goalposts for them. Are they good? Are they not? Obviously, it's hard to tell, especially because of the way that Thailand kind of threw a couple of games, but we haven't seen all we've got to see from Korea as well. We haven't seen them since the first match of the day when they got shellackled. And I know that's not a word, but that's how it felt against Chinese Taipei in the first series. So they need to bounce back. China needs to prove that they're good. What will happen?
Get Search will get the MVP, as he very well deserves. 7-1-7. This is KDA, and I'm quite proud of him for it. This was another solid Nacroth, which we've seen a few of today. I like to see these high mobility Nacroths play, but you need to get to the mid game in order to have enough damage to pay it off.
Nacroth has really gained popularity, not just, the very, very tip-top players, but everyone seems like they need to be able to play him for good reason. And so now you're seeing all the best Nacroths come out to play.
That'll be the game, though. 2-0 to Thailand, Indonesia full. Don't go far. We'll be back in a few moments with China facing Korea in our true test of China's strength. They won one that we didn't expect them to win. They lose one that we expected to be close dominantly. Now they must play Korea for potentially the 4th slot out of the groups. Don't go far. It'll be an exciting game. Our last 2 matches of the night still to come.
少废话，来吧。